Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Port Hueneme, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Good afternoon, man.
Good morning over here.
Yeah.
Damn near afternoon, though, Andy.
Just roll with it. Let's round up.
Let's go.
Let's round up. He's in the Knicks, guys. He's in the Knicks gear still.
I'm in the Knicks gear. That's right. I went to the gym this morning. I got up this morning and I was like, all right, I got Dirty Sports. We were supposed to do 11 my time. I got Knicks at 4:30. And I was like, you know what? Let's go hit the gym today, nice and early, get out some of this nervous energy. Got home, Dirty Sports it. I'll take a shower, relax. You know, it's big. Like the Saturday and today, the whole day is planned around these games. It's like my whole day. It's like my fiance was like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, "I got Knicks game at 4:30." She's like, "Okay, that's at 4:30." I was like, "Just get off my back, would you?" She's like,
You know why you're nervous?
You need to calm down.
Because if you guys lose tonight, I'm calling it right here. That series is done. Celtics are gonna flip it.
Listen, look at Ruther. I told you he was going to call last episode, and it took one loss. I knew they were going to lose.
No, I said if. I didn't say they were going to lose tonight. I said if they lose tonight. There's a huge difference. If they lose tonight, I think the series flips.
Listen, I don't think the Knicks need to win 2 games to win this series. At this point, it's like it's a 7-game series. You know, I don't necessarily agree with you, but at the same time, we're not losing tonight. Tonight's the night. Let's fucking go.
What makes you feel confident when you say that?
Well, I'm lying for one.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think we win tonight, but I'm not confident we win tonight. Here's what makes me feel good about being a Knicks fan right now. In addition to, obviously, we're up 2-1. Everybody's acting like we're down 2-1.
But let me ask you this. Is a lot of that, though, not to take anything away, but it's like, is there anything from those were 2 just wildly blown?
Well, here's
leads.
Here's what I want. And I talked about it a little bit last episode. I talked about it on the live I did on Saturday. Probably the biggest annoyance from this series is the Celtics are locking down Jalen Brunson and playing good defense and have the strategy for Hacka Robinson and have contained Cat, and the Celtics blew 2 and the Celtics choked away 2 win. Why don't the Knicks get the credit for taking those games from Boston in Boston, shutting down Tatum, shutting down Brown? That's one thing that's been super annoying across the media about this series so far. A lot of credit to Boston. I give a lot of credit to Boston. Jalen Brunson hasn't had the 40-point game yet. I give a lot of credit to Boston for having a strategy for, hey, we're going to cut the head off the snake. Yeah, OG Anunoby was really good in game 1. Yeah, Mikal Bridges had a little breakout in game 2, but we're not going to let Jalen Brunson beat us. I give you credit. I'm not, Jalen Brunson must be sick. Jalen Brunson choked away 3 games. Jalen Brunson's not himself. Dude, credit to Boston. Now, give us some fucking credit. We went into Boston, beat you twice. Like this whole idea that basically it's just the Boston Celtics series. Are the Boston Celtics going to win, or are the Boston Celtics going to lose to whoever they may be playing? Are they going to show up? Or are they not going to show up? It's like, we built this team to beat Boston and shut down your two guys. And that's why we won 2 games in Boston. So what makes me feel good is Jalen Brunson is the best player in this series. And when I say that, I'm not talking about has been the best player in this series. I'm talking about is the best player in this series, is the most trustworthy player in this series. What makes me feel like we can win this series is that the Knicks haven't had a great Knicks game yet. The Celtics have had, 10 quarters of great Celtics basketball. The Knicks haven't, even in the games the Knicks won, the Knicks didn't play that well. The Jalen Brunson didn't have great games. Karl Anthony Towns, there's something going on, and I talked about this on the last episode, and again, also extensively on the live. There's something going on with NBA refereeing now where they just are so focused on the perimeter because everybody's shooting 63s a game that now Karl Anthony Towns is just getting abused down low, which again, like I've said numerous times, I'm all for it. Let's go. Let's have a let them play series, but also let's let them play on the perimeter. Let's let the bumping and the shoving and the fighting through picks happen. If OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart are allowed to get as physical just getting through picks on the perimeter as as the defense is allowed to get with Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson down on the block, I love this series. So let's have a little bit of consistency. That's not an annoying ref complaint. That's just I'm not saying anything's fixed or anybody's, they're going out of their way to do it. I just think that these refs have lost their ability to call, post play because they're so focused on, is he in the landing area? Is that a illegal pick? Is that a step? It did get him on the arm on that jump shot. It's become very focused on the perimeter. And the Knicks are trying to win this game down low because Porzingis is limited. My confidence in winning the series comes from the Knicks haven't been the Knicks yet. And I just think that this team is tougher than that. I don't think this team rolls over and has 4 games where they don't play that well and lose. Now, the Knicks could play really well and still lose because this Celtics team is way deeper, way more talented top to bottom. But you get one more win at any point before the end of the series. And again, game 7, anything's possible.
Why do you think the lines just overwhelmingly favorite Boston every game? Like tonight. I mean that's a pretty big it's 6.5. That's a pretty big spread considering, again, on the road.
I think that Vegas smartly is they're in even the games the Knicks and Celtics played this year. A tight game is tight until somebody goes on a run and stretch it out. Like the Knicks have had games where, it's a tie game with 4 minutes to go in the fourth and they lose by 15. I think that these two teams are just so imbalanced that it's basically you're either picking the Knicks to win. There's really no reason to bet the line in this game. Just bet the Knicks to win or bet the Celtics to cover, because down the stretch, what is it going to be? I think Vegas is right. It's I don't really see a shot at the buzzer to win this game, but obviously if that happens, it's going to be the Knicks that are doing it. I think if Boston's winning games, they're winning games that are 7, 8, 10-point games. And Vegas just doesn't, Vegas obviously doesn't see the value in making those lines lower because it went up, I think. I think it went up from 5 to 5.5 to 6 to 6.5, and I think maybe it settled at 6.
So the starts have been a problem for the Knicks, right?
Yeah, I mean everything's been
so
a problem.
It's like they need to probably. I would make a point that they would have to change tonight, like you can't go down early.
You sure? Yeah, you can't. You got to play a good close game. Listen, I was talking about it with a good friend of mine who's also a really, really smart Knicks fan. And I said, I never thought I would say I need less Josh Hart minutes because he's, pun not intended, the heart and soul of this team. But I think that there needs to be and Tibbs isn't going to do it because Tibbs isn't the kind of guy who's going to switch his fucking starting lineup in the middle of a series. But I would like to see more Karl Anthony Towns, Mitchell Robinson minutes together. To me, a starting lineup where you went Brunson, Bridges, OG, Cat, Mitchell Robinson would be great. And then the reason being, if you need Josh Hart to do Josh Hart things, cool. Bring him in 6 minutes into the game, 4 minutes into the game. He can stay on the floor the rest of the game if you want. Like Josh Hart is the kind of guy who's like, he's ready to play 55 minutes today or 60 minutes or however many minutes, if it goes triple overtime, he's like, all right, I guess I'm playing all the games or all the minutes. But I just think that Karl Anthony Towns has to get going. I think, and again, that's what's been pretty frustrating about the way this series has been officiated. Is like, well, if with Porzingis's limited availability, if they were calling the paint really tight in this game and letting them play on the perimeter, the Knicks have already won the series. The series is over. Because everything that Boston does is 5 out. They're literally barely putting a guy near the paint at any point. Not Porzingis, not Horford. No one's really down there. Luke Cornett is down there occasionally. So if this game was called really tight on the perimeter, we're literally looking at a sweep tonight. But they're not. And that really kind of does make it a little imbalanced because I think the Knicks have their second best scorer in Karl Anthony Towns, who's sort of been eliminated from the action with this, like, oh, anything goes in the paint, but only one team's playing in the paint. So, I'd like to see them try to figure out a way to get Karl Anthony Towns going today. If that's running a little bit of 2-man with him and Jalen Brunson, bringing Karl Anthony Towns out, because obviously he's a great shooter as well, or running a little action for him and one of those wing guys. I think you just need to get Karl Anthony Towns going so that it draws a little bit more attention. And then that in turn leads to the most important thing, Jalen Brunson going. This team isn't just led by Jalen Brunson in terms of like, oh, he's their leading scorer. They have a different swagger. They have a different feel about them. They feel unbeatable when he is going. And so you need to find a way, but you also can't, he's not LeBron. He's not, Michael Jordan. He's not Kevin Durant. He's a 6'2", probably in shoes, point guard. You can't count on him being the leading scorer in every quarter of a basketball game. You can't be like, oh, he had 12 in the first and 14 in the second, 11 in the third, and 15 in the fourth. That's not Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson can give you 7, 8, and then 20. And I'm okay with that.
Do you think there's going to be, you talk about a nervous energy. Do you think there'll be a nervous energy in the Garden tonight?
I don't think there'll be a nervous energy. I think the game on Saturday, I think, was affected by being a Saturday day game.
Yeah, that was a weird time.
It was a weird time. It felt like like I just went to the gym at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. That felt like the equivalent of going to the gym on a Saturday, the first Saturday after New Year's Day, or going to the golf course on the first, Saturday in May. It's like, it felt like dads went out and spent 20 grand to take their kids there. Steve Cohen's there with his wife on the front row. Like a lot of people who were like, this is the thing to do this week. We're a fucking super rich New Yorker. Let's get these tickets. Let's be at this thing everybody's talking about. This is the post-work Monday game. This is going to have a little bit more of your regular New York Knicks crowd, which I think
Helps.
those are the people that, the guys who come from fucking work are the ones who are ready to, scream their ass off, drink 10 beers, and then go home and not talk to their wives.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I just think this Knicks team needs to come out and have a good game. And if the Knicks have a good game, that's going to get the Garden crowd in it, because the Celtics took that Garden crowd out of it immediately last game.
Yeah. I wonder why they did that time. That is a weird time.
I mean, I think it's setting up, they're trying to get these two games. It's a Saturday. They're trying to get the second game off at 5 or whatever it was. 5:30, so that's 8 Eastern.
What's been your analysis of just this overall year of the trade for Carl Anthony Towns, and like how it's worked out? Would you not have done it? All those things.
It's tough because the Knicks, in a way, sort of had to do it and had to do it when they did it, because they would have loved to have run it back with Hartenstein. And again, we'll talk about that Denver series with OKC. I just think he's one of them, the great underrated players in the NBA. He obviously didn't underrate himself. I think he would have loved to be with the Knicks, but we can all, understand not wanting to take a massive pay cut just to stay. So you lose Hartenstein. You're without Mitchell Robinson to start the year. So you're going, are we just playing centerless basketball? Are we not even going to have a guy who's like a prototypical power forward that can be it? So I obviously don't mind. I didn't mind getting rid of Julius Randle. I never liked Julius Randle. I think Julius Randle's a ball stopper. Julius Randle's been fine with Minnesota, but the reason Julius Randle's been fine with Minnesota is for some sort of reason, probably because, he was there first. He defers to Anthony Edwards, who is obviously the best player on the team, but he defers to him. And he was unable to do that in New York with a guy who was also significantly better than him in Jalen Brunson. He also was terrible in the playoffs for us on multiple occasions and didn't play at all in the playoffs last year. So I was never the world's biggest Julius Randle fan. I was fine with them moving on from Julius Randle. So if you're telling me, hey, Julius Randle goes out, Karl Anthony Towns comes in, and if you're also telling me, well, we have to get rid of Dante DiVincenzo in that move, I'm like, okay. That being, if Hartenstein was still there, I would love a Hartenstein, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges or Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson starting lineup. But in a way, they only had to do the move because they lost iHeart, and they were only able to do that move in the offseason because of the finances. They wouldn't have been able to do that move during the regular season. They wouldn't have been able to start the year and see how it plays out. So I was fine with moving on from Randall and getting Karl Anthony Towns back. The truth is, if you're going to play these like magical financial games, why didn't you find a way to play some magical financial games and get rid of Julius Randle for something and expiring, for example, and then be able to do a Hartenstein deal that has, a balloon payment? That's what I would have rather have seen. And I also would have rather have seen Dante DiVincenzo be a part of the team that has Mikal Bridges and Brunson and Hart on it. Seemed like the whole plan was get these guys all together at once, but it felt like a deal that they kind of had to do because they lost Hartenstein and because of the injury to Mitchell Robinson. So I don't know. It's, I've never been the world's biggest Karl Anthony Towns fan, and I've never been the world's biggest Karl Anthony Towns fan for the reason we're seeing in this series, which is, oh, cool, you can score 60 points a game in January. What are you going to do in May? And the thing is, I would like to see Karl Anthony Towns get a fair shot at it, at least on my team. I've seen him get a fair shot at it on other teams, but I'd like to see him get a fair shot at it on my team in this series, because it doesn't feel like they've given him a fair shot at it. And if he got a fair shot at it and he still, was disappointing, then he's kind of living up to what I thought. But I'd still like to see him get a fair shot at it.
Are you hitting the panic button if they lose tonight?
I mean, I wouldn't say,
or I could ask if they lose convincingly like they did last game.
I don't think that there's a panic button for, you got to remember,
tie.
Yeah, in a series that I didn't think we would win, I don't think there's a panic button in a 2-2 series.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's fair. I was just curious.
But, obviously you lose 3 straight. I kind of think that there's no panic button. I kind of think that there's just, for me, it's like going down 2-2, getting it even to 2-2. I'm still like, hey, we're 2-2 in a series I didn't think we would win. Going down 3-2 and losing 3 straight, I think we skip right past panic button and go, well, we're not winning the series. Even if we win the next game, we're winning game 7 after they beat us 3 in a row. I don't think so. But counterpoint, anything is possible. Game 7, anything is possible. That's why I think we got to get one out of the next 2.
Sure. Well, I think that, I think the most surprising series right now and so far, right, is Indiana and Cleveland. Another just blowout.
I think it's a surprising series because of how the games have gone.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because I think if you go back to, just a week ago, I said about it's like, give me the Celtics and OKC versus the field. And I got a lot of messages from guys throughout the year, as I've said this, who are Cleveland guys or who are Donovan Mitchell guys or who are whatever, who are like, you're just not going to give the Cavs any respect for doing whatever. And I'm just like, the reason I'm not going to give the Cavs any respect is because the team isn't a whole lot different than it's been the last couple years. And that team has been, deficient in the playoffs. It just feels like it's a regular season team. Now, you go back 2 seasons ago, the Knicks manhandled them. You go to last season, like this team hasn't impressed me as this team that's going to go, oh, we're going to play in the Eastern Conference Finals every year. So you come out and you're the 1 seed. It's like, okay, cool. I remember the Rockets being the 1 seed. I remember, the Atlanta Hawks that year being the 1 seed. I remember a lot of teams that have been the 1 seed that I didn't believe were of 1 seed caliber, especially when you have a team in the Celtics that's coming off a championship. They don't have anything to prove in terms of having the 1 seed, in terms of having the best record in basketball, in terms of having home court. So I had a week ago OKC and Boston versus the field. So I haven't believed in this Cavs team's title chances the whole year. That being said, being down 3-1 to the Pacers, being down 41 at the half or whatever yesterday, and just having these games, you go without, you had guys injured. Those guys came back. You get your fucking ass kicked. That's, to me, shocking. And the Pacers are a tough team. The Pacers got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and the Pacers are well coached. Obviously, Rick Carlisle is a guy who's turned into a weird fire marshal bill and play with the refs via the media, but he's obviously a great coach. He'll be featured heavily in my 2011 Mavs documentary, but they're a tough team. So when I was like, I don't believe in the Cavs, I figured that there would be a chance the Cavs get shocked. not necessarily just lose to Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's like I said, I would have loved a chance to play the Cavs in the second round and not have to play Boston. But the way the series has gone has just been shocking. And I think if you're the Cavs, if you're a Cavs fan at this point, like, do you really have hope? I can't imagine you have hope in this series. I can't imagine that you aren't already. If I'm a Cavs fan, I'm already thinking about how is this team getting fixed in the offseason.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it's like, there's nothing worse than when you're the number 1 seed and then you just get shown up pretty early. Because then you have to evaluate and go, okay, what do we got to do now? Right? You really have to put the reevaluation in and say, what do we got to do? And I agree. Like, that's where they got to be right now, is at that stage.
And you got to give credit to the Pacers.
Yeah.
But the way this series has gone, I think you have to give credit to the Pacers for being tough and deep and well coached and full of veterans, and Tyrese Halliburton stepping it up, and them being one of the best teams in basketball down the stretch, since the All-Star break. And, you have to just be like, hey, man, you ran into a team that isn't going to roll over for you just because you're the quote unquote 1 seed. But, this is what we're talking about in the Celtics-Knicks series. It feels like it's all the talks about Boston and none of the talks about the Knicks. And in this series, I think that the talk is about how the Cavs are failing. And I think you got to give credit to what the Pacers are doing. But I think in this series, you have to give equal time to the Pacers, are a good, well-coached team. And they showed up ready for a dogfight. And the Cavs fucking didn't. The Cavs didn't. And now there's a conversation about Donovan Mitchell. Can he be the best player on a championship team? And which I think he can. I think there's a difference also between being the leading scorer on a championship team and being the best player. Again, you talk about this OKC team that I love so much. Is SGA the best player on the team? Was Michael Jordan the best player on the Bulls? Or is he the leader and the leading scorer? He's great, but we have Phil Jackson saying the best all-around player on the Bulls was Scottie Pippen. We have who a lot of people think is the greatest coach of all time saying that on record, on video. You can hear the words and see the words come out of his mouth. I think Donovan Mitchell can be the leading scorer on a Cavs team. I think maybe the question mark is right now when people say, can he be the best player? I think he's also the best player on the Cavs. Maybe, by sort of typical standards, Donovan Mitchell can be the best player on a championship team. But you really need one of those fucking guys who just does all of that dirty work and does all those other things. He needs a running mate. He needs his Scottie Pippen, and that's where I think, this team's going to have question marks. Unfortunately, I think if you're a Cavs fan, you ought also maybe be worried, do we really have to fix something where we were the 1 seed? And it's like, yeah, you do, because the goal is not being the 1 seed. The goal is winning a championship.
Yeah. And again, we've seen this, like you said, we always see this with these teams, and we've seen it with teams LeBron used to run through in the East. What was it, like Toronto? It's just like they get the 1 seed and it doesn't matter. Or with those Lakers squads, they weren't always the 1 seed, and it was like with Shaq and Kobe, and you're like, okay, well, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But you alluded to SGA and OKC. That's obviously been the best series so far, the most fun series. We're knotted at 2. Kind of went, I think, the way you predicted, or maybe you predicted the opposite, where Denver would lose 3 and then win 4. But regardless, it's 2-2.
Yeah.
As it heads back to Oklahoma City.
I think, listen, you got to give props to Denver. I think they're I think they're a significantly worse team than Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
When you look at Oklahoma City in terms like if obviously you can just say, oh, if you swapped Jokic for, but like, obviously it doesn't solve it would make for imbalanced lineup depth. But if you swapped Jokic for SGA, for example, or if you took Jokic and any guard, and if you took Jokic and random guard and swapped them for SGA and random big, Oklahoma City would run through this fucking team. Like, this is, Jokic, they've done a great job containing him. But you really have to give credit to him and Denver for even being in a 2-2 series, because I would say Oklahoma City has like 9 of the best 12 players in the series, or like, you get like, and then you get to that point, you could go 12 of the best 15 players in the series. Like there's so many guys on, they're built in a way where it's like, man, they have this MVP candidate who's a scorer. They have, these big, like Hartenstein and Chet have done an amazing job of keeping Jokic from going just like a bananas team. And they're just so goddamn deep. You got Lou Dort, you got fucking Wiggins, you got Williams. It's just like, it's kind of a never ending. They're just like never out of ammo. And I would almost say they're almost never out of ammo, specifically on the defensive side of the floor. They're so good defensively. And then they have the league's leading scorer. I think he finished as league's leading scorer. So that's like a good, if you're trying to build a basketball team, and this is very much like, 90s Bulls, be the best defensive team in the league and have the league's leading scorer. It's a pretty good starting point.
Yeah.
Blueprint if you want to win in the NBA. Defense wins championships, but we got a guy who gets buckets.
For sure.
And obviously SGA has been pretty quiet down the stretch in the series so far. Played a lot better down the stretch last game than he did in the games, but in games through 1 through 3. And I think they fired that graphic on the screen at one point. But props to Denver for being in this series 2-2. I would lean toward Oklahoma City in 6. I would say if that doesn't happen, Oklahoma City in 7. But again, for Oklahoma City to win in 6, they got to win the next 2 games. If Denver takes either of the next 2 games, now we're looking at a game 7 happening. And if a game 7 happens, not only is anything possible, you have the best player in the world. So that's your goal if you're Denver. I'm actually shocked that it's 2-2. And I have underestimated Denver as a team. Because like, you got to give them props to them. Somebody was saying in my live the other day, like what Russell Westbrook's been. And I was like, don't get ahead of yourselves though. Because it's when you have Russell Westbrook, it's live by the sword, die by the sword. Like that's Russell Westbrook's deal, is he's going to look fucking great at moments. He also might have the turnover that costs you this series. You might have a game 6 where, hey, look, we're only down 3-2, but we're about to win this game. And then Russell Westbrook fucking throws a terrible pass and you lose. So like, I think that's the danger with this Denver team, is they're just not deep enough. The reason I believe in Oklahoma City is because people are mentioning in my live, hey, Russell Westbrook's been pretty good for us. Hey, if you're counting on Russell Westbrook being pretty good for you, it doesn't historically work out really well for your team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he has been pretty good for you. Not a great place to be. You know what I mean? But like, again, I thought Oklahoma City would kind of run through this series because I just think that they're the most talented team. And I'm loving it. I'm loving this series. It's been by far the most fun series to watch.
Definitely. Well, especially with With Steph Curry getting injured, I think that could have been a lot more fun series.
Sure.
But it just kind of threw a wrench in that whole series.
Yeah.
And obviously, Minnesota goes up 2-1, and they're kind of in the driver's seat now.
Without Steph, it's just gonna be tough.
Yeah.
It's but like honestly, good on Kerr and good on Jimmy Butler. It wasn't a blowout in Game 3, but even with Steph potentially coming back with a, he's not going to heal a hamstring injury before a potential Game 5, right? So because they're saying earliest he could be back is Game 5, more likely Game 6. He's not going to heal, so he'd be a hampered. If you're down 3-1 and you have Steph Curry in Game 5, you're still losing, in my opinion. So to me, you got to pull out all the stops. Draymond Green's got to kick somebody in the dick. Jimmy Butler's got to wear an emo fucking wig. Steve Kerr's got to, I don't know, do whatever Steve Kerr's got. But like, you got to win Game 4 or else nighty night bunny rabbit. It's over. I don't care if Steph comes back, Clay comes back. I don't care. Kevin Durant comes back. You're not coming back 3-1 with the Monstars if Steph Curry has, a half a hamstring.
Well, now that Draymond's using, and he's already crying like a little bitch. To me, it's like the series is over.
That was one of the more unbelievable things in the history of.
I'm sure you saw, everybody was putting together montages.
Yeah. of him punching Jordan Poole in the face, kicking guys in the dick. It's the most offensive claim anybody's ever made.
It was one of those things that he said, and literally not a single person bought it.
It's literally it is not even joke. It would not be more ridiculous or less ridiculous. It is the equal amounts ridiculous as Kanye West coming out and being like, I'm sick of everybody painting me as a crazy guy. Well, you just put out a song called Hail Hitler. So, no.
Oh my God. And you know what was funny about it? There was so many, like there wasn't just one, there was so many montage, like there was varied montages.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and you know why that is? And you know why they came out so quickly? Because prior to his statements, you could already go on YouTube and go Draymond Green dirty play montage, and 10 different fucking 12-year-old YouTubers have already put up videos. Him kicking people, punching people, choking people, stomping on people. And I saw some fucking tweet the other day. It was like, if you think Draymond Green is dirty, you weren't alive for like Bill Laimbeer. And
I knew it. I knew we were going to get 90s. I knew.
And I'm just like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? There's not a 12-minute highlight reel pushing the limits of bumping guys, handshaking guys, dirty fouls, flagrant fouls is different than a guy who kicks people, punches people,
punches his own teammate,
chokes people,
punches his own teammate,
chokes people. He's choked multiple people. This is not a one-time incident.
Ew, repeat offender over here.
Yeah.
But that's my point. When he starts making those comments, the series is lost, man.
Yeah.
When you start playing the victim, 3 games in, it's lost.
Yeah.
It's totally lost.
They just don't have enough scoring. They didn't have enough scoring when they had Steph. They don't have enough scoring without Steph. Like, you have guys who are getting minutes on your team that don't get minutes on a championship team. And, again, I think Steve Kerr's come a long way as an X's and O's head coach through his career. We're now at the point where it's like, all right, what are you doing with this squad? Because Jimmy Butler piece was a nice addition, but it didn't fix everything. Jimmy Butler, even in the playoffs, Jimmy, he would go quiet from time to time, and they just don't have enough scoring. And without Steph, it's crazy. Now, listen, I'm just absolutely shocked that OKC Denver is 2-2. Now, Denver has the best player in the world. So, that helps. Would I just fall out of my chair if the Warriors got this even and it was 2-2? No. I still don't like your chances when Steph Curry comes back because you're still getting a hobbled Steph. And Steph's whole thing is running off screens, catching and shooting, all that. Like, it's just not, I just don't think it's doable. But you go down 3-1 again, quit the series and get Steph healthy for next year for a last hurrah.
Yeah. Were they in San Francisco when they won their most recent title?
No, I don't believe so. Oh, their most recent one. Yes. Yeah. Because that's only 3 years ago now, right? 3 seasons ago.
Let's see here. Went Boston, Denver.
Yeah. I think that might have been year 1 there for them.
Okay. Just curious. You talked about the 90s Bulls. We got surprising, I'm shocked, surprising news. Michael Jordan will be joining as like what's the technical title? He's going to be doing some commentating as an analyst. Never thought I'd see the day for NBA on NBC, which is happening next year. NBA goes back to NBC. You and I grew up with the classic John Test song.
Yeah, the round ball theme or whatever it's called.
Michael Jordan will be a special contributor to the network's NBA coverage starting next season. MJ gonna be on I know you're like I'm so interested in how this plays out.
I think it's gonna play out a couple of different ways. One, I think MJ is so calculated.
He's very calculated.
I think he's going to avoid hot takes like they are passing the ball to fucking Horace Grant or Will Perdue. Like, I think he's going to avoid hot takes like nobody's business. Like, I think he's going to avoid saying anything controversial or making any bold claims about any players or any teams or any legacies. And I think that'll keep him from drawing like crazy headlines. I also think he's just going to be bad at it and people are going to suck his dick. I think he's going to avoid hot takes and then therefore end up being Magic Johnson-like. And then Magic Johnson gets clowned for every tweet. I think Michael Jordan is going to have takes that are Magic Johnson tweets, and people are going to be like, he just said Steph's the greatest three-point shooter of all time. He's so spot on. So fucking spot on. Look at him go. You're only going to get that shit from the GOAT.
So you're saying he won't get, because Brady's gotten a lot of critique as a Fox analyst. You don't think he'll get it, that type of, the quote unquote GOAT getting that criticism?
No, because of the brainwashing. Everybody sucks off Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm here for it though.
Well, I'm curious because again, like he's not an outspoken guy. He's never been like as far as definitely post career. For the most part, he sticks to himself. I mean, even as an owner, like he wasn't really in the spotlight as an owner when he owned Charlotte. That's why I'm shocked, given that he has all the money, and I think Jordan. You talk about calculated, and I agree. He's very calculated. I think Michael Jordan has purposefully remained silent on a lot of this GOAT talk, a lot of this discussion, because he knows a lot of it plays out in his favor on social media. He knows that even though kids didn't see him play, their dad or their uncle or whoever has like really brainwashed them that he's the GOAT. There's not even a discussion. You can't have a discussion. So like that's why I find all this very interesting is he has kind of just hidden behind the scene. And so my question would be to him, why now? After all these years, why now do you suddenly want to be an analyst, a commentator?
Well, I'm sure they approached him. I'm sure they offered him a dumb amount of money.
For sure. But again,
I'm sure, listen, the thing about Jordan is they're not going to be hot takes and they're going to be calculated, but he's going to use this platform to do the Last Dance thing. Everything he says is going to be, he's going to word it just right. He's going to fucking say, he's going to put himself in that conversation. He's going to inject himself into the modern basketball combo, and he's going to have it so thought out that it's going to only improve the same way the Last Dance did. People watch the Last Dance, and people who didn't fucking have a strong opinion either way are like, well, that guy's a GOAT. And it's like, you just watched a documentary produced by him. Like, that's what it's supposed to make you think. And he's going to do that. If it seems like it's a hot take, the wording's going to be, he famously now, people go, oh, you know why Jordan's better than LeBron? He never called himself the GOAT. And I did a whole TikTok on Dirty Sports account about this. It's like all his gear that he goes out there and says, I review and approve every stitch of the Jordan brand. That's part of his thing, is approve all over it. Made for the greatest player of all time. It's all over it. So he said it, but then when people go, are you the best player of all time? He goes, I didn't get to play against Wilt. I didn't get to play against Bill Russell. I didn't get to play against LeBron. How could I call myself that? That's a calculated answer. That's
smart.
Not.
It's smart.
It's smart because
it's very smart.
It's smart because it gives the people the ability to say what they're saying. Oh, LeBron's not the GOAT. The GOAT would never say it. Well, Jordan's the underwear says it. These hands were shitted in by the greatest basketball player of all time. The fucking Gatorade bottle says, remember the Gatorade bottle with his hand on it? This is a 2-scale hand of the greatest basketball player to ever live. These razors shaved the Hitler stash onto the greatest basketball player of all time. But he didn't say it. But every product he endorses, every product says it's stitched on it. But he didn't say it. It's all very calculated, and he's going to come and he's going to do that. And honestly, he's probably doing it for 2 reasons. 3 reasons: money, attention, and because he's going to do calculated. He's going to continue his propaganda campaign. And he's going to be doing it to a willing audience. Like the people that come back to watch the NBA because the NBA goes back to NBC that they grew up on, they may as well be in all fours with a bottle of lube like on their asshole. They can't wait to be fucked by Jordan propaganda. If their dirty little assholes are gonna get wet the second that fucking John Tesh song hits.
Mine might too. I love that jam. That's a banger. NBC. What were the games on Sunday? Did they have some on Saturday too?
Yeah.
Or was it Sunday?
Well, and then the playoffs, they did a lot of they would have them on the weekends, but yeah, it was Sunday, the NBA on Sunday. Yeah. And listen, it was the best. Nothing was better than that.
It was a great era to live through.
It was great.
It was a great era. I think there should be like they should rotate with Jordan's former teammates as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because we all know how well he got along with those guys. Like this week, we got Michael Jordan
And now in 90s Bulls roundtable, we got Craig Hodges, who for some reason looks like he's 90 years old and has been smoking crack. He's like, that motherfucker was a piece of shit. Have you seen Craig Hodges recently?
I thought he looked old as fuck when he played.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna pull him up.
Oh, he was just on like a thing.
He was on no, I'm not, that's not a video. What is this headline? Craig Hodges laughs off R. Kelly affair while reflecting on NBA blackballing. And this came out today. R. Kelly affair? Did he have an affair with R. Kelly? What?
Craig Hodges just did a podcast recently, or
that's
like with guest on something.
It was probably the Up in Smoke, I think. Amidst his professional challenges, Hodges faced personal trials that tested his character and resolve. Perhaps most notably, his former wife, Carlita, had an affair with the singer R. Kelly. Was he married to a 12-year-old?
Wow.
What? So wait, this is probably most interesting. Yeah, bring on Hodges.
Yeah.
Reflecting on his ordeal, he shared his ability to laugh at the situation, underscoring his understanding of life's complexities. Who's writing this article?
Well, to be fair, he is a 97-year-old black man. He's seen a lot of things. He was alive when fucking slavery ended.
His relationship with R. Kelly, once marked by friendship and professional support, evolved into a poignant example. What website am I on? Motorcyclesports.com.
It's the white answer to Black Sports Online.
Motorcyclesports.com. You got a bot.
By the way, I love that Motorcycle Sports. It truly is the white answer to Black Sports Online. Black Sports Online would have told us everything that we needed to know in the headline. On motorcyclesports.com, the headline reads like he had an affair with R. Kelly. They're like, oh, we're going to make it real confusing. You're like, Craig Hodges fucked R. Kelly?
I think Prano wrote this one from yardbarker.com. The headline says, Craig Hodges believes Scottie Pippen was better than Michael Jordan from a natural standpoint. Yeah, it was all the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. That's where you're saying all this stuff. Yeah, man. A rotating list of Jordan's former teammates.
Also, you can have Craig Hodges there with Huck Finn.
Craig Hodges and Ulysses S. Grant making a cameo. Or I like this idea.
Who's older, Craig Hodges or Bo Nix?
you just triggered somebody. I like the idea of like former Jordan teammates who've been harboring some sort of incident from practice, from the team bus, from a flight, and they just come on and they air it out. And Jordan has no clue what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, remember that time when we were flying to Phoenix?
Oh my God, air it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Air it out. Perfect. Remember that time we were flying from Phoenix to Sacramento? And you got Scotty to hold me down, and you guys dick slap me. I've been thinking about that the last 30 years, Michael.
Remember the time you had Luke Longley and Will Purdue hold me against the wall, and you repeatedly punched me in the face because I beat you in dominoes? Fair and square.
With special guest, this guy.
Yeah.
I think that guy's dead, right?
The special guest, the security guard, yeah.
Giannis open to a trade now. Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, well, you're in Milwaukee. Let's start there.
Yeah, you won.
The Dame Lillard Milwaukee move was the beginning of the end.
It was.
You put yourself in a position where you're fucked cap wise. again, there is a, and I love Dame Lillard. I love Dame Lillard's game, but there's absolutely a call for like, I can't believe there's not some mobster who like just, like whose business model went out the window with like RICO cases, who's not just like, hey, I whack dudes who are ruining your salary cap. I whacked Deshaun Watson for $4 million. I whacked Dame Lillard for $6 million. Like, you do 3 hits, you're set for life.
Salary cap hit. That's like a movie. Salary cap hitman.
Yeah. But listen, if you're Giannis, you're one of the greatest players in the world. You're stuck in Milwaukee with a team that has no direction. Location, direction, like, I just don't know who ends up making the move for him. Everybody's like, oh, the Lakers. Like, I was like, I don't think you can do. I don't think you're the Lakers. I don't know how that. Now you're getting into like a big three. Like that era's over. The league's too deep now. Houston, I guess. But it's gonna be interesting. I know there's been talk of Brooklyn, but then like, what are you doing in Brooklyn? It's almost like if you go to a team like Brooklyn, they gotta be like, yeah, waive your no trade clause to come here. We're also gonna do this. This is our other, or we're gonna sign this guy first.
Dude, he's only 30.
Yeah, I know. Like as far as a guy who's been like for the most part pretty healthy, you've got 4 more years, 4 to 5 more years in you just on regular old modern day athlete standards, where it's like you should be pretty good into 34, 35.
Yeah.
You're not LeBron. No one's LeBron James. Everybody's going to fall off a cliff at 35, but you got a window here where that Houston team's young. They don't have it, whatever, but then at what point are you now trading, your depth for one guy? I think you got to keep Thompson if you make a move for him, which feels like if you're Milwaukee, of course you want Thompson. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if he goes anywhere, and if so, where he goes. Because if I'm Milwaukee, I still got to figure out a way to like. Is this him wanting out, or is this him Kobe Bryanting them into making a move? I'm sure he was stoked about the Dame Lillard move when it happened, though. But I could have told you, like, it's not making you champs, and if it doesn't make you champs, what is it doing? It's fucking, castrating you as far as the future goes.
I'm trying to think who I saw who a lot of teams were saying.
I feel like Houston's got to be the one that people have at the top of the list.
Let me see.
Although he did say he wants to play in New York or LA, or is that just theoretical?
I haven't seen that. But I don't know. Another failed Doc Rivers. They're going to lose their player.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any potential, if there's any teams he's looking at.
Here comes Pat Riley, right?
Miami.
If I was Giannis and Miami came calling, I'm listening.
Yeah, Pat Riley calls. I don't think anybody's listening. Everybody's gonna give a listen to that. Your boy retired. Your boy Derek Carr retired, Prano.
Yeah.
So the Saints, like I said, really seems like they're going all in for a QB, because they got a real pathetic trio of QBs right now. And it's like they almost knew this before. Like they knew Derek Carr had an injured arm, injured rotator cuff, whatever it is, shoulder, before the draft. And they're like, we're just going to suck so we can get Arch.
Yeah, they also drafted a kid. And then...
Yeah, but my point is, like, they don't have any,
Right. They have no proven quarterback in their quarterback room. They don't have a high draft pick.
Exactly.
They don't have a high draft pick or a proven guy. No, absolutely. Listen, if I was a Saints fan, I'd want him to tank for Arch. Bring the boy home. But also, we talked about last episode, Aaron Rodgers. You bring in Aaron Rodgers in that situation. I mean, I guess if you want to go fucking 9-7 and win the division because no one else is really that good. But again, just missing the playoffs or just getting in the playoffs is the worst spot to be in.
He's been paid. I pulled this tweet from Warren Sharp. Derek Carr made over $205 million in his career. The 9th most cash from 2014 to 2024. See, this is always my knock on him. And I know you're going to say we play for the Raiders. 77.
Oh, I don't. I will. Let's not act like I'm some sort of Derek Carr defender.
You've always been a Derek Carr defender.
I'm a Derek Carr. We'll get to the end of the tweet and then I'll do the thing.
77 and 92 career winning percentage with one trip to the playoffs, one and done against that Bengals Super Bowl team. And then here's another one. When you present it, like, by the way, again, kudos to his agent. This is the follow-up. Top 10 highest paid QB since the 2014 season. Carr is 9th. He made $196 million cash since the 2014 season. And again, we've talked about this. Look how many of these guys are overpaid. Kirk Cousins.
That's my Derek Carr standing.
Okay, talk about it.
Which isn't me. I'm not out here going, Derek Carr is a top 5 quarterback in the league. What I'm out here saying is everybody loves to fucking go, Derek Carr's Derek Carr's trash. Derek Carr's overpaid. Derek Carr's 9th. Derek Carr, Dak Prescott's 5th. Dak Prescott and Derek Carr are a wash to me.
You think they're a wash?
Does Dak Prescott have a fucking MVP vote? Has Dak Prescott done fucking anything?
Does Derek Carr have an MVP vote?
Yeah. Russell Wilson doesn't. Kirk Cousins doesn't. My problem is Derek Carr was on the Raiders and the Saints and was Dak Prescott and was Kirk Cousins, and everybody wanted to shit on him. And I'm the one going, let's shit on Kirk Cousins. Everybody goes,
Prescott does that. Prescott actually in the 2016 season.
Okay.
When Carr got votes.
Okay.
Prescott has one. I don't know if Dak has other.
My point is, I was always just saying, everybody's out here doing to Derek Carr what everybody should be doing to Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins has made $100 more million. No one was doing it. You're a hater. You hate Cousins. You hate Russ. You hate Dak Prescott. You hate blah, blah, blah. And you slurp Derek Carr. No, I'm just saying these guys are all the same fucking player, all overpaid, all over fucking whatever. And everybody's focusing their attention on Derek Carr. And meanwhile, Derek Carr didn't get to play with the Legion of Boom. Derek Carr didn't get to play on those Vikings teams. Derek Carr didn't get to play on even those Cowboys teams with crazy weapons and great defenses. Derek Carr has just been a Raider and just been a fucking New Orleans Saints at the end. And people act like he is what people want to try to tell you. And this is what the whole point of this Warren Sharp thread is is people want to tell you he's Kirk Cousins. No, he's not. He's made 50% less money than Kirk Cousins, and he was never on one of those good teams, and he never fucking choked away entire seasons like Kirk Cousins did.
Well, look, I fully actually disagree the more I've thought about it with the Dak Prescott. Dak was second in MVP too, behind Lamar a couple years ago. I think Derek Carr. I don't know where I'd put him.
He is Dak Prescott.
I think Dak's better. I do. And I understand the Raider take, but like the Cowboys are also a dumpster organization. It's not like Derek Carr didn't have some talent with him at times. Didn't have some receivers with him at times.
Yeah, you had Darren Waller.
Amari Cooper.
Yeah, okay. Amari Cooper, fucking Dak Prescott every year gets Amari fucking Cooper or some version of it. They just go, and Amari Cooper. How about fucking Dez Bryant? How about fucking CeeDee Lamb? How about when Zeke was getting MVP votes with him? What about fucking the defenses he had? This is my point. This is precisely my point. I'm not here to fucking tell you Derek Carr is elite. What I'm telling you is Derek Carr is Dak Prescott.
But see, I don't agree with that.
Derek Carr is Kirk Cousins, but not on the Vikings.
Derek Carr threw for 30 touchdowns once in his career. Once. Like, I don't know. Like, that's always my barometer. It's like, how many times have you thrown for 30 touchdown passes? And I would also argue with Dak's mobility. Both got injured a lot. There's that comparison. All right. Side note, we do have an age update. I know you love it. Saints rookie QB backed up Bo Nix in college and has a picture with Brock Purdy at prom.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. It's actually
Did you go to prom with Brock Purdy? That makes me question both of them.
Well, Davis, I appreciate that comment on YouTube. That's actually a great segue to this.
Which of the 9 seasons that Bo Nix was in college was his backup on? Which of the teams? He backed up Bo Nix at Auburn in 2012.
This is a great segue for this Philip Fudge and Rivers video. I can't wrap my head around this.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm about to play it. John Gruden is going to look for Philip Rivers in Alabama. I mean, it's all staged, obviously. John Gruden gets to Philip Rivers. He's holding his latest, his 10th kid.
Right.
But wait until you hear this, and you'll watch it. Philip Rivers has a grandson that was within a couple months of age of his latest son. And he's talking about how his grandson could be, or vice versa, could be throwing footballs to his actual son. You gotta watch this shit.
We're going to try to go find Philip Rivers right here in Fairhope, Alabama. We got the driver, Keith. He knows the backwoods here of Fairhope.
Side note, you probably have been watching Gruden videos.
I've seen some of them.
I get a lot sent to me. I laugh every time. I laugh every damn time.
We're going to go find the man. We got to find Philip Rivers. And it's not going to be easy.
I can't believe I'm looking at you sitting out here in Fairhope, Alabama.
I love that. It's not going to be easy. Cut to he's standing with him. They don't even do the requisite fake. Hey, you know where Philip Rivers lives? Like,
I mean, this could have been edited. I don't know.
Yeah,
from a longer video.
How about it?
How's the body feel?
How about it? Not too bad, actually. Not too bad.
You're starting to get a little twang, man. Even more than you used to.
Even more? So San Diego just helped me for a little bit.
Oh,
yeah. Some of my older girls say, "Dad, golly, man."
Yeah. How old are your girls now?
So the oldest is about to be 23.
I love that his. I'm assuming the takeaway there is that his girls are giving him stuff, giving him shit, giving him stuff. I'm already talking like Philip Rivers, giving him stuff about his accent. I'm assuming that's what he was saying there.
Yeah.
But the girls are going, golly, Dad. Golly, Dad. Golly, Dad. You talk like a Southern dad. Good gosh, darn dang it.
100%.
Maybe if your daughter said shit, Dad, you talk like You talk like a hick.
So I got a 6-month-old grandson.
Watch this. So he asks how old his daughter is.
Girls now.
So the oldest is about to be 23. I got a grandson. I got a 6-month-old grandson.
No, that's you and Tiffany's?
Yeah, this is
That's number.
You see Gruden, like the light bulb goes off. He's like, wait, that's your kid? That's not your grandkid?
Gruden's like, whose kid is this then?
He's like, that's you and Tiffany's? That's you and Tiffany's kid?
He's 1 year older than my grandson.
1 year older.
So we're gonna have in 16 years we're gonna have a son throw a touchdown to a grandson. How about that?
That'll be something you got to only think about when you're in Alabama and Fairhope talking to Philip Rivers.
Honestly,
Yeah,
in
man.
16 years, we're going to have a son throw a ball out of bounds over his grandson's head because he forgot it was fourth down.
I do like Gruden. Like Gruden's not scared to lean into like, this is some Alabama shit. And Philip Rivers just walks away.
Yeah.
Like Gruden's like, yeah, man, this is kind of weird. Dude, that is unbelievable. He has a son and a grandson within a year of each other. Like, I'll be honest, it's tough for me to even wrap my head around that.
I mean, I'm sure Al Pacino has a fucking grandson that's 12 years older than his son or whatever.
It's different though. Al Pacino's 80.
Yeah.
Philip Rivers is 45.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how old he is. He's probably 40, but that's my point. And I've said this, and I stand by this. It comes to a certain point, like with these people, I don't care who you are, and kids, and it's like, it's an ego thing. It's a like, come on, what are you doing?
I again, listen, Andy.
What are you doing?
I think I've said this before.
What are you doing?
Every time Philip Rivers had a kid, when he had 6, when he had 7,
No,
when he had 8,
I know what you're gonna say.
everybody did the same fucking hack joke. Philip Rivers fucks. I disagree.
You think
I think Philip Rivers has fucked 10 times. I think Philip Rivers refuses to. I think Philip Rivers is so Christian, he only fucks to have kids. So I think that there's at least 4 of these kids who were like, I didn't even want this kid. I just wanted to fuck, but like, I'm not allowed to fuck unless I have a kid. So I'm just like, he's like, man, I fuck every 2 years. And sometimes, you know, you come back from fucking throwing 4 picks against the Broncos, you just want to fuck.
Bro.
And so I fucked, and now I got 10 kids.
Here's perspective for me. Let's put in his age. He's 40. He's 43. December 8th, 81. I'm November 26th, 81. We're both going to turn 44 within 2 weeks of each other. Like, again, the thought of me having, dude, the thought of me having 10 kids, we're the same age. We're the same fucking age. We're the same fudging age. 10 kids?
The fucking daycare will be like, it's too many. We don't have they're waitlisted because you're already
Too many.
We're just gonna,
So how
we're
the
just gonna
daycare
do a
works?
Ruther room.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they're rooms and you move up as you get older. Room 1, room 2. Dude, I just have a Ruther room. Ten kids. He's 43.
Is today a holiday?
May 12th?
Obviously May 12th is not a holiday, but was there some sort of holiday I don't know about today?
Let's go to the Google Calendar. They list every holiday. Nothing on there.
Okay. Gym was packed this morning, and now my fiance is like, where the fuck's the mailman? He's like 3 hours late. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why the gym was packed on a fucking Monday at 9 a.m. either.
People are trying to get in shape, man.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, you get in shape. I go there at night, and that shit is always packed out. But I'm just like, what are y'all doing here today? Because it's not usually during the daytime. That's usually why I like to sneak it in during the day if I can get
Philip Rivers likes to. He likes to sneak it in.
Yeah, Philip Rivers. 10 kids.
Well, I mean, he was having kids. Did he get married? Hold on. Now I'm curious. He says also 23. Did he get married in college?
I think so. Yeah.
He's like, we gotta have sex. I want to get married to you. Let's see here. Come on. Let's scroll through. let's find. Come on. Can we get to his personal life? Does Wikipedia cover? How are you not covering his personal life? I don't care about his football stuff. He could have been a New York Giant, Joe. Where was he living in New York with 10 kids?
New Jersey.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's definitely living in New Jersey. I don't know.
By the way, can you imagine being one of his like teenage kids or early 20s kids, and you spent your life growing up in San Diego? Now his dumbass moved you to Alabama.
That's where he's from.
I know that's where he's from, but I'm saying, like, Dad, we don't give. Golly, Dad, we know you're from here, but it sucks. Hey, we don't say sucks in this house. We say stinks.
Of course. You're right. He married his longtime girlfriend, Tiffany, in 2001. Dude, 2001! I was a sophomore in college. 2000, what are you doing? We have lived complete opposite lives, Philip. Outside of also you were a professional football player, and I'm talking in my basement about you. There's that too. That's unbelievable. Well, Fudge and Rivers, the legend lives on, man. That's bonkers, bro. Here's a question for you.
Okay, hit me.
Since he played for the Chargers in San Diego most of his career, by the time his youngest son, who's one,
Now, the youngest current son, right? We're not sure he's done.
Oh, he's not done. These people, dude, it's an addiction.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Like I've come to the conclusion, people that have kids like this, it's an addiction. It's no different than being addicted to food, drugs, like whatever. It's an addiction. You're addicted to having kids. I've seen it with people. It's an addiction, man. Because once you get past a certain level, I think like you got problem. Like Elon Musk has a child addiction. Like I'd put him in that category.
I think Elon Musk is just trying to prove his mangled dick still works.
Well, I think there's a God complex in security for sure. Like all that. I think all that plays into it. But like, I think some of these guys, like a Cromartie, I think it's like it's a man thing, and I'm gonna spread my seed, the Genghis Khan sort of thing. Anyway, back to my original question I wanted to ask you. So his kid's won. By the time his kid is in college, will there be an NFL team in San Diego?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I mean, the NFL will expand again by then, right?
Well, that's the question. Like,
I think the NFL will expand again, but then the question becomes like, there's so many places that don't have a football team that never had a football team. Do they get a shot at it before San Diego gets another shot at it?
So we've just like the expansion stage. How long have we been at 32 teams?
Since the Texans, right?
The next move would be 34. Question is, when would that happen? I'm going to say no. I think they give a shot to, another city.
When the Texans came into football, did they come in alone, or did they come back? Did they come back in with the Browns again? Like, how did we go? How did we just add one? Because we did Jags and Carolina together.
Well, Baltimore didn't have a team.
Right.
So you're right. So Cleveland lost a team.
Did the Texans come back in with the Browns? No.
No. It went Jags and Panthers.
And we had 31 teams? Or
then we have Ravens. So
You know who knows this? Goldberg.
yeah, he does. So I'm on the expansion. This is kind of the way they've done this. Yeah. You're right. I mean, that's what happened. 95, Jags and Panthers.
Yeah.
So then the Ravens.
But the Ravens were the Browns.
Oh, we're forgetting Nashville. Yeah.
But Nashville was Houston.
True. Yeah, it was unbalanced. There's 31.
Weird.
It says the league was unbalanced, which created a scheduling nightmare. Because at least one team each week would need a bye to compensate for the lack of an opponent. So the NFL had to add a 30-second franchise. So it was only a few years, though.
Oh, but it was unbalanced because the Browns got a team back.
Correct. They leave in like 95, 96 to Baltimore.
And they come back, and
In
that
99.
makes it unbalanced.
Yeah, they come back in 99. And there was like 3 years where it was unbalanced, and they're like, this is scheduling nightmare. I don't know where you go. San Antonio? And what people got to realize too is because there's always talk here in Cincinnati, like, oh, if they leave. And I'm always like, okay, play that out. I'm like, because scheduling, like I'm talking about it now, scheduling is real. I always say, if the Bengals left, I go, people don't realize when the Raiders left, they stayed in the West, right? When the Chargers left, they stayed. When the Rams left, they all stayed in the same. I was like, if the Bengals leave, where are they going to keep the conference? It'd have to be somewhere in this vicinity. That's what, because everybody's like, oh, they'll go to San Antonio if they left. And I was like, that doesn't work. They're not going to put an AFC North team in San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah, well, they could realign.
They could.
The fucking Cardinals were in the NFC East forever.
Yeah, I mean that they were forever, but I don't think they're going to do that. Anymore. And obviously the Cowboys play in the East still. Which I saw that.
I mean, I understand the travel logistics of it, but it feels like the next expansion's got to include like a Europe team. It's not that much. I mean, it's far for a West, but it's not different for the Giants to go to London than it is for them to go to fucking LA.
Yeah, no, it's the same.
If you're trying to do the global domination thing.
Ukraine. And Russia. The war is settled with
Donald Trump finally gets his NFL team that he's wanted for 40 years. Okay. We could give a little bit more money to Ukraine. A little bit, but only because I'm going to be the owner of the Ukraine Generals. Who's my GM? You guessed it, Herschel Walker.
Herschel. We have a hotline, and I think I'm going to change our hotline.
Okay. Wow.
I like this Teams thing because they got rid of Skype and it's Teams, and I could just be a stupid idiot, and I probably am. I'm like, how do you even save this? And I was Googling it, and like, there's no. I was like, they have Google numbers, which just go straight to voicemail for free. And I was like, maybe I'll just change the number. I mean, as of now, it's still the same, the 310-359.
Is when you say Teams, is that Google Teams?
Microsoft.
Well, yeah, we got it.
Because they own Skype.
Got it.
And it's like, dude, if you're making this too complicated for me to save a goddamn call, for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah. We've had eras of the Dirty Sports Podcast. We had the once a week eras. We had the once a week era. We had the sideshow era. We had the condoms are for pussies era. We're now in the Stay Dirty era. The
Smut
Substack era,
Studio.
Smut Studio. Yeah. Maybe it's the Google Voice era. Maybe it's the new hotline era.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to make that happen.
Now, let me ask you: is there a way that we could do like the video, video voicemail?
We could. I just don't think dirtballs will do it.
Yeah.
You mean dirtballs gonna show their face?
I don't know. The internet's a crazy place. So many people not showing their faces.
I just don't think they will. That's why we just leave up to the hotline. Only problem is you have to connect it to a phone, and I'm like, me picking up like "fuck you, spam," and they're like "Ruther," you know, like me like yelling at some spam. It's what Ruther? God damn it! I'm like stuck driving to daycare.
Well, I think you connect it to a phone, but then you could just not have that number ring through.
Yeah, I'm sure I can figure it out. So we'll figure. You know, I'll do something this week.
All right.
I'll keep you
I say just take videos and send them to Ruther. Ruther's number, by the way, I have it right here, is if you want to just send them directly to Ruther. It's 513.
You remember that time I accidentally set my number on air?
No. Did you get a lot of calls?
Yeah, like I had a brain fart. I gave my personal cell instead of the hotline.
There's I mean, there's a lot of dirtballs who have my number.
Yeah, there's some have mine.
And then I have their number. And then there's like 6 dirtballs who have my number whose number I don't have. And then I have to like go scroll back and be like, what? Who are you? I'll get messages from people and be like, I know you're a dirtball, but which dirtball? And then it takes like 3 minutes of digging into like old messages. I'm like, I could probably put this together.
Well, we do have direct messages at the Dirty Sports, at Andy Ruther, at Joe Prano.
On Substack. You know, we have a whole chat. We have a fucking message system there. Send us a thing on Substack. I'm on the fence as to whether or not I'm going live today. I kind of want to, but I have a bunch of shit to do. But keep your eye open. Subscribe to Dirty Sports on Substack, even if you're, you know, even if it's a free subscription. To subscribe to me on Substack, even if it's a free subscription. If I go live today, you'll get a notice.
Cool. What time's that game start? 7:30 Eastern?
Yeah. I'll be drinking some Miller Lights, Andy. Oh, what the hell was that?
One just fell out.
No, that was a remote control that I had on the top.
Wow, the Golden Pilsner.
The gold 24 ounces. I talked about it on the live, Andy. I had to drive past 3 7-Elevens to go to a 7-Eleven that MillerLite.com/dirty sports said did in fact have gold cans. I drove 2.7 miles away to the 7-Eleven on Pleasant Valley Road, not the close one on Pleasant Valley Road, the far one on Pleasant Valley Road. And they had only the gold 24 ounces, and they only had 3 of them. So I bought them all, and I have 1 left.
It's a good looking beer.
No, sorry, they only had 4 of them. I have 4 of them, and I bought 4, and I've drank 3.
That's some Willy Wonka shit right there, man.
Yeah. And now I'm like, do I want to drink it or do I want to keep? Because they also have the gold one with the gold lettering, which I got to find. That's my next thing. I'm like Mikey with his fucking Spice Girls things. I need 1 to play with and 1 to keep forever.
So many angles I could take that.
Yeah.
So many ways.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's our show. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great week. And as always, stay dirty.